portion from Hebrews 11, which I was reading as part of my quiet time this week. And it's a really long chapter, so I'm not going to read it all. But it'll be familiar to most of you, if not all. And the words are very powerful, and they remind us what faith is. Faith is hope for things not seen, isn't it? An assurance that it will come to pass. The beginning of the chapter says, "Now faith is being sure of what we hope for and certain of what we do not see." And this is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, Abel offered God a better sacrifice than Cain did. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life, so he didn't experience death. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family, didn't he? By faith, Abraham, even though he was past age, and Sarah herself was barren, was enabled to become a father because he considered him faithful who had made the promise. All these people were still living by faith when they died, but they did not receive the things that were promised. They only saw them and welcomed them from a distance. And the passage goes on. It's very encouraging, very exciting. But at the end it says, "They were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised. God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect." And it just struck me, only with us would they be made perfect. Only with us, that's you and I here today. We're part of that. Would it be made perfect? Would they be made perfect? All the characters followed God's commands. They were obedient, however weird, and they were commended for their faith. They were described in part as aliens and strangers in this world. They were on a journey looking for home. They didn't get to their destination, but they anticipated it. Some of them could see in the distance what was hoped for. And we know these stories of old. And as I look around the room, we too have stories to share and to tell. And the verses at the beginning of Hebrews 12 say, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses," we are part of that cloud of witnesses as they were, with our stories, with our journey to Jesus, who is our home. And so often we think of home as a place rather than a person, don't we? But wherever we are, we've been singing songs that talk about coming home or being home because we're with Jesus. Wherever we are, his presence is with us. We are home with him. One of my friends, or someone I worked with rather than a close friend, died this week unexpectedly. And for me, that's another. It's been a lot this last 6 months. And we say they've been called home to that final destination. I was reminded of those verses in Revelation 21, so familiar to us. Let me see if I can get them up. "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Now the dwelling of God is with men, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. That's our final destination. That's our final home. But it's home because of Jesus' presence. It's home less because of the place, but more because of the person, isn't it? And I just wanted to encourage you this morning to think, do you feel at home here? Do you feel at home with Jesus? Have you sensed that calling of Jesus to be with him, to know him as your home day by day, in the buffeting of life, in the tossing of the waves? Do you know you're safe because you've trusted in Jesus? And just as we move on into the liturgy, I'd encourage you to reflect on that, to take some time just to examine yourself. Examine your relationships. Are you keeping short accounts with people? Are there people you need to apologize to? Are there people that need to apologize to you, but can you forgive them anyway?